We are on the road. We're heading from northeast Wyoming to down to the southwest desert, and we're going to chase some sunshine and warmer weather, hopefully. We're in southwest Wyoming right now, not to be confused with the southwest desert where we're heading. We made it 9 hours of driving yesterday. We actually slept in the van, had it all loaded up, slept in the van night before last so we could leave first thing in the morning and get on the road because we're battling weather. We're racing weather. We had a ridiculous wind yesterday, and we're heading potentially into some snow if we don't get a move on. So we're going to get headed out pretty early this morning, and we'll try and beat the snow in Utah. Other than that, seems like a good time to give you a quick update on how everything's going. We made it through Rawlins, Wyoming, stopped for gas. The Prius did not die. So far, the van's been going fine this time too. But we'll give you an update in this video in a few minutes, a little bit later, about how the van's doing, because I know it's probably the big question everybody's wondering. How's this beast of a camper van making out on a road trip here, long road trip here? But we left about 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and like I said, we made it what should have been probably a 6-hour drive, I think. We did took us 9 hours, but I'm not surprised, wind and not making great time. And the camper van, more fuel stops than we might otherwise need because we're driving a beast of a van here. We stopped in Independence Rock, actually managed to get the drone up. Cool historical site between Casper and Rawlins, and I was able to get the drone up this time. Finally, I've wanted to do that several times, and either it's too windy or so cold the batteries are dead, so I was able to do that yesterday. We stopped in Rawlins, fueled up the gas tanks, and the Prius did not die. And then we stopped in Maverick and got some fuel for us for the road, and then continued on. I was stopping here at Little America, it's called. This place has been here for the main stuff is up there. Been here for decades, popular with people traveling through for Yellowstone and other things like that. And they used to let you park in the parking lot out there overnight. A few years ago, they opened up this RV park, and now you can't park in the parking lot for free overnight. But we stay here when we're coming through anyways, because it's usually cold and wintry when we're making our fall or late fall / early winter, or late winter / early spring pilgrimages between the desert and Wyoming. And there's not a ton of stuff around here. So nice little RV park. We stay here oftentimes. Back in Green River, there's a place we like to go. You've seen some photos from there. But as you can see, there's snow. And there's snow down here in the flats and in the valleys. There's even more snow up in the hills, which is where we would have to go. So there's no chance that I was trying to take this rear-wheel drive, high-top cargo van up into the mountains with snow in them. So we're here at the RV place where we stay. They also have epic showers. They've actually literally converted a block of the old hotel rooms. They have a hotel here too. They've converted a block of the old hotel rooms into RV showers, the RV park showers. And so you get an entire old hotel room with the big old ante room, and then a vintage shower, bathroom and shower that works just fine. But the tile are green and pink and other blue and other vintage tile colors from back in the day. So anyway, we're going to be continuing on so we can make some progress. We're probably an hour and a quarter from Utah, and we'll be getting into Utah. And the big question is going to be which way we go when we get into Utah, which direction we're going. There are a few alternate routes. We can get off I-80 here in southern Wyoming, basically, southwest Wyoming, and either going to Colorado and over, or we can go down from like Rock Springs down through the Flaming River Gorge into Vernal, Utah, and over. Both of those, either by first-hand reports I just received yesterday, or by DOT weather reports, have pretty sketchy road conditions on those secondary roads. So we're not doing that. So that leaves us. The most shortest, most direct route is to go over to Salt Lake and then down to Las Vegas and over to Pahrump, which is where we're heading first this year, maybe only this year again. We never did make it down to Arizona last year, but we're heading to Pahrump first. So that's the shortest route. But I've been thinking we might go over like through Delta, Utah, and over to towards Tonopah, Nevada, and down that way, miss all the Las Vegas traffic and stuff. Going through St. George and Mesquite and then to Pahrump is the fastest way to get warmer weather. But the other way is interesting too. Some interesting things to see out there. But then we were talking last night, maybe we'll go across through Salt Lake to Bonneville Salt Flats and down through Ely, Nevada, or however you pronounce that town. I hear people pronounce it different ways, and on to towards Tonopah. Again, cool stuff to see. So we're not sure which way we're going. We'll decide that in the next couple of hours, I guess. But probably we're going across Utah, then across Nevada to Tonopah, then down to Pahrump. So come along for the ride. We'll try and show you some stuff from the trip, and I will be back in a little bit, momentarily or so, on the video land with some updates on how the camper's doing. We'll probably do that this evening when we stop for the night. I'll give you 2 days of updates. Well, we're in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, about a half an hour normally from Evanston, which is like 5 miles from the Utah border. We drove into this horrible mess. I knew there was going to be some in Utah. It's famous here in Wyoming. You don't get a very good forecast. This is nasty. The road conditions are deplorable. We've already seen multiple vehicles off the road. I could not get footage of you because I was busy trying to drive. And we've now got chain laws in effect. We're pulled into a big truck chain-up area. And I was just checking the DOT app, and there are multiple road closures on I-80 between us right here and Evanston, which is like 35 miles down the road. So the whole interstate shut down in multiple locations due to multiple crashes with blocking the lanes. And of course they're saying expect delays, don't stop in the road, blah, blah, blah. So we're pulled into this big truck chain-up area, and I think this is where we're going to have to sit for a bit. We were talked real briefly about whether we should turn around and head back to Little America. That's 35 miles behind us, and it's getting bad, and I don't really want to, neither one of us wants to drive 35 miles back either. There is nothing out here, so both of our vehicles are fueled up. We've got a fair bit of diesel on board for the diesel heater. I think we're just going to have to hunker down here and wait till things settle down and they're able to get the roads cleared up. Well, here's the truck stop we're at. I can't get out to show you because the wind's blowing so bad you won't hear anything. These guys are over here chaining up this tractor trailer, and there's just all kinds of trucks already in here. I'm sure there'll be a lot more. We tried to pull off and get out of the way as good as possible so we're not interfering with anything. There's a boat. Yeah. So anyway, this is where we're at. So I guess we're hunkered down here for a little while. Like I say, we've seen a couple vehicles off the road already, and oh, here we go. We've got a U-Haul coming in here. They're stopping too, and the road is closed in front of us in multiple locations, so we're not getting through. So I guess we're sitting right here. Fortunately, we got everything we need, almost everything we own, right here in the camper van. So we're hunkered down till things settle down a bit. quick update on tire chain things. This is a thing in like Wyoming, Colorado, and I guess Montana probably, and other places that get nasty weather like this. We're in level 1 tire chain restrictions now. They just got the signs up right before we pulled in here. That was the first, we saw the first sign going this way. So we're heading into a big pass too, so it goes up heavier, higher elevation. But level 1 tire chain restrictions, you have to have either approved snow tires, or you have to have all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive vehicle, or you have to have tire chains on your drive axle. Traffic's slowing down out here big time. You see the trucks are not making out too good. That truck probably does not have chains on yet. People in here are either chaining up or they're just parking for the duration. Anyway, the level 1 tire chain restrictions you have to have. We do not have tire chains, and they're honestly a pain in the butt anyways. But we don't have them, and we do not have snow tires on either vehicle, although we do have chunky tread tires on both of our vehicles. We don't have snow tires. And so far, we don't have all-wheel drive either. But as usual, the vehicles we've seen off the road so far we're all 4-wheel drives, SUVs, and trucks, because that's pretty much the way it always goes, because people with those vehicles seem to think they don't have to slow down for bad conditions. And they're usually the first ones off the road. And if I had to wager a guess, they were probably really annoyed seeing us going by them while they were in the ditch, these multiple vehicles, these all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drives, SUVs, and trucks, and we're driving by in a rear-wheel drive cargo van with a high top. Camper still going, but it was getting bad out there, so we're just hunkering down. That's the tire chain thing. We're not legally able to drive right now, even if we wanted to, and frankly, we don't want to. All right, we just decided to get off the interstate. We've had enough of it. We're taking the back road over into Nevada, sort of back road, state highway. Much more relaxing, much more comfortable and enjoyable. And we just found these, so we just totally had to stop and check these out. This is the joy of taking the back roads anyways. So the sign here says these are Pioneer charcoal kilns or charcoal ovens or something. I'll have to go back and check the sign, I guess, but this is cool. This is really neat. These things are huge. Window up here, door down on the bottom. Really, really neat. This one looks like the roof caved in at some point. Same kind of construction. Just looks like the roof probably caved in on this one, I guess. There's a sign here telling us railroad from 1879. That's just literally right out there. Oh, actually, it's right here. It's even closer than I realized. So the railroad is right here. And the smelter from 1895. And the Morrison charcoal ovens from 1882. So these charcoal ovens are evidence of a historic man using the natural resources. Reminders which once upon a time formed the basis of man's industrial enterprise. In 1882, that man, George Morrison, hired Nicholas Paul to build 4 charcoal ovens.
Records indicated he was aided by Ole Hans Jacobsen and Herman Lundahl. Records also indicate that Christian Overson at one time was in charge of the operations. Wooded mountain canyons to the east was cut into 4-foot lengths, put on mules and horses, and hauled to the mouth of the canyon, one of which still has the name of Wood Canyon. Each mule carried approximately 1/4 cord of wood. Young 18-year-old Matthias Caleb Dutson made 3 such trips each day. Total for the day, 3 cords. The wood was then brought to the ovens by wagon or cart. Records indicate that John Carson and Louis Nielsen and other men from the area helped cut and haul the wood and fire the charcoal ovens. The wood was put through the charge door, that's the higher window we saw on the roadside here, stacked on end around and above a wooden fireplace which had been built in the center of the oven, filled with chips and wood shavings to provide tinder for the later fire. The wood continued to be stacked until the oven was full, about 25 cords of wood per oven. Wow! A long torch was pushed through the tinder to the tinder box to light a fire. The burning fire's oxygen supply was controlled by placing or removing rocks in the 2 rows of holes which can be seen around the base of the ovens. Control of the burning wood was determined by the color of the smoke. After 6 to 8 days, all the air was shut off, smothering the fire. The ovens and wood were then let cool. The charcoal was removed from the ovens and sold. The charcoal was used by smelters in making steel. It was also used as insulation to keep foods an even temperature. As charcoal burns with a hot, smokeless flame, it was used on trains and other places as fuel for cooking. It was also used by blacksmiths in their forges. Exactly how long these ovens were used, the record's not clear. It seems their use overlapped 1 year of the establishment of the Ibex Smelter, 1895, 2 miles to the northwest. The smelter closed after 1 year of operation because of the lack of ore. This probably ended the use of the charcoal ovens. Standing inside the oven or outside looking to top of Wood Canyon, one can almost hear the sound of axes, of men and mules, wagons and trains. The sounds of history are silently heard in our minds as we go back to once upon a time. Pretty fascinating. That's quite an operation. Let's go take a look down, walk down here. Looks like there's a path. We can maybe get a closer look at these ovens. What a cool sight. I don't have to worry about the roof falling in on this one because it already did. This is cool. I was telling Melanie, I was just driving along before we spotted this place. And I was thinking, I'm so glad we got off the interstate to take this back road. We always like taking the back roads, we have a choice. But we've been dealing with some pretty crazy snow and ice conditions, so we're sticking to main roads for that reason. They were bad enough. So we decided it was time to get off, and we're shooting over from here to, I don't know how you pronounce it, Ely, Nevada, and then on to towards Tonopah. We got some cool places we want to check out on the route. We almost just went straight down to Mesquite, Nevada, and across to Pahrump from there, just because we were worried about the weather. But it looks like we're going to be safe. But we do have to get out of Utah today. It's Sunday, and it looks like they have more snow coming Monday and Tuesday. So we have to get out of Utah. It looks like southern half of Nevada, central and southern Nevada will be safe. So we're heading on that way now, but we just had to stop and check these out. And they are right on the side of this state route. I forget the number of it, but or the name of it, but it's nowhere near as busy as the interstate, but there's a reasonable amount of traffic still coming by at times. Namely, as soon as we turn the camera on to start recording, it's been pretty quiet for that. So let's make our way across Nevada here. How has the van been doing on this trip? Well, we've had it out a few times for shorter trips before we undertook this major 1,000-mile-ish trip. And it's kind of basically that was a good chance for us to feel it out and see how things are working. Basically, the van has been working just as expected. As a cargo van, it wasn't that great in snow and ice to start with, and it's still not good in snow and ice. As a cargo van, it didn't really like rough roads, and as a high-top cargo van, camper van, it still doesn't like rough roads. And it didn't get the best fuel efficiency to start with. It still doesn't. I used to average between 14 and 18 miles a gallon on open roads, probably more like about 10 around town. As far as the way I drive, though, I'm pretty conservative, and I do not drive fast. I hold it to like 62 to 65 miles an hour, so that would obviously affect things. If you did a similar build and drove faster than I drive, that's going to affect things. But we went from 14 to 18 on open roads down to 10 to 12 on open roads, depending on hills and wind, basically. So we can get it up to about 12 miles a gallon if there is not a whole lot of climbing and if the wind is not too crazy. So pretty good. When I hauled the trailer with this van, I was pretty much at 10 miles a gallon or less. So 8 or 9 was not uncommon. So it's quite a bit better than hauling the trailer as far as that goes. The handling and things on rough roads is quite a bit better than hauling the trailer. So really, I mean, it's basically, it's not as easy to drive or as good a fuel efficiency as just with a standard roof on it with the solar panels and that stuff up there. That was still about 7 feet, a little better than 7 feet, closer to 8 feet with the solar panels, and the roof racks were shy of 10 feet now. So it's basically a little bit more cumbersome to drive and operate than when it was just a standard roof, but it's definitely less cumbersome and annoying to drive than hauling the trailer. So it's kind of right in the middle, and the fuel efficiency is right in the middle as well. Anyway, basically it's pretty much as expected, like what we figured with this build. Obviously, there's an effect on handling and performance, as would be expected, but it's not bad. It's exactly in line with other RVs and high-top vans and box trucks and ambulances and other large vehicles that I've driven in the past. So nothing really weird that way. You got to drive a little slower and take it a little easier, and it's going to take you a little longer to get up a hill. So we are in Nevada, kind of in central Nevada as I'm recording this. We're making our way towards Pahrump. Looking forward to hunkering down a little bit and chilling for a bit, getting some break from the weather. We have been just, even this morning as I'm recording this, we had the one in Wyoming, of course, and then we ended up getting laid over for like 20 hours at that tire chain up parking lot. And then following morning, the roads in Wyoming were still pretty deplorable. They were really good as soon as we hit the Utah line. So I don't know, but they must be using some kind of de-icer in Utah because the roads were dry. You literally went from ice and slush straight into dry roads. So, and then we ran into more stuff along the way, and we got snowed on this morning on Monday, which it was not supposed to snow up near Ely, Nevada, but it did. And we had some really gnarly roads for a while, so I didn't get too much footage for you this morning as we were traveling, making our way towards the lunar crater. But there's basically an update on the van. It's, like I said, it's right, kind of right in between driving the van as it was and driving the van hauling the trailer. It's kind of smack in the middle for performance and fuel efficiency and the aggravation factor. So we're on our way to the lunar crater today, which is, I believe, a cool site in central Nevada. I've not been before, so we'll be making our way towards that and bringing you along for the ride, showing you guys what that looks like and what's up there to see.